Capillaries are the site for the exchange of materials between your blood and tissue cells. Remember, your blood carries an abundance of materials in the plasma, as well as your blood cells. These capillaries are arranged into capillary beds consisting of 10 to 100 capillaries. Blood flow through the capillaries is called microcirculation. Micro because these blood vessels are microscopic. In this view, this illustration, you can see the capillaries in gray. Capillaries are fed by terminal arterioles and drained by postcapillary venules. On average, an adult will have 5 liters of blood. If all of the capillaries in your body were filled with blood at the same time, there would not be enough blood to flow through your arteries, veins, and heart. To prevent this from happening, blood is sent to metabolically active tissues, bypassing tissues that are not metabolically active. For instance, let's say you're sitting down, eating a meal, relaxing, listening to some great music, not moving your legs. At this point, blood flow to your digestive tract increases, and blood flow to your legs decreases. What happens if you get up and you start running? Or maybe you decide to dance to the music. You're going to redirect your blood to the skeletal muscles in your legs. This is what leads to cramps. But this is very efficient. Our bodies use what are called vascular shunts to bypass metabolically inactive tissues. In this illustration, you can see the vascular shunt connects the terminal arteriole to the postcapillary venule. Vascular shunts consist of 2 regions, a met arteriole and a thoroughfare. Blood enters from the terminal arteriole here into the met arteriole of the vascular shunt located here. The walls of the met arteriole contain an intermittent layer of smooth muscles, and at the junction of the met arteriole and the capillaries are smooth muscle sphincters called precapillary sphincters, and these are illustrated here. A sphincter consists of muscles that surround a tube, and their contraction and relaxation, or closing and opening, regulates the movement of the fluid into the tube. The second region of the vascular shunt, the thoroughfare, empties into the postcapillary venule. Contraction and relaxation of the smooth muscles in the met arteriole and the precapillary sphincters is called vasal motion. These 2 illustrations demonstrate the movement of blood into the capillaries here at the top. In that case, these precapillary sphincters would be relaxed and open, allowing blood to move into the capillaries. The illustration at the bottom shows that the blood remains in the vascular shunt and goes directly from the terminal arteriole over to the postcapillary venule. What allows this to happen is closed precapillary sphincters. And so the muscles, the smooth muscles of the precapillary sphincters are contracted. Blood flow in the capillaries feeding a tissue is called tissue perfusion. You can also have organ perfusion, and this would be blood flow to an organ. Let's go back to the illustration at the top. We could say here that tissue perfusion has increased Because the blood has gone to the capillaries. And remember, capillaries are feeding your tissues. In the bottom illustration, tissue perfusion decreases because the blood is not allowed to go into the capillaries, feeding the tissues. What determines whether these precapillary sphincters contract, thus close, or relax, opening up? The local control of precapillary sphincters is called autoregulation. There are two types of autoregulation: metabolic controls and the myogenic mechanism. Let's begin with metabolic controls. Metabolism is the sum of all of the chemical reactions occurring in your body. One important metabolic process is aerobic cellular respiration. The majority of the body's ATP is synthesized through aerobic cellular respiration, which requires oxygen. The uptake of oxygen by the tissue cells will decrease oxygen levels in the local environment surrounding the precapillary sphincters. In addition, waste products such as carbon dioxide and metabolic acids will accumulate around the sphincters, dropping the pH. This metabolic activity leads to decreased oxygen, increased hydrogen ion and carbon dioxide levels, and decreased pH in that local environment. These local conditions trigger the precapillary sphincters to open, allowing oxygenated blood to be delivered to metabolically active tissues and carbon dioxide, metabolic acids, and hydrogen ions to be removed. The second type of autoregulation is the myogenic mechanism. Remember from AP1, myo refers to muscle. This mechanism involves the smooth muscles in the terminal arterioles and the precapillary sphincters. Smooth muscles naturally contract when they are stretched. The vasoconstriction of the terminal arterioles feeding the capillaries and the closing of the precapillary sphincters decreases blood flow into the capillaries. This regulates flow rate of the capillary blood. Capillary blood has to have a certain flow rate in order to allow for enough time for the exchange of materials between the blood and the tissue cells. By regulating the flow rate, you ensure that the tissues are receiving what they need and that waste products are being removed. Now it's time to review. Answer the questions that follow this video, and then you'll be able to view the next video. Until later, take care.